big win against the Vodacom Bulls, who have been decent in the URC, who did a number on Saracens.
Last year
I was there. Did a proper job on them, actually. Tough game for Sarries going down there in the heat and altitude. They came fully loaded.
Polar opposite
as well
of life in Pretoria last year, wasn't it?
Exactly. They must have been thinking, what the hell? But they started well, the Bulls did.
And they had a bit of a decent warm-up last week because they were over in Connacht last week and they performed quite well. So they were used to the fucking wind.
Yeah.
Because it's never not windy in Connacht, is it? But
exactly.
They did start well, but Saracens did exceptionally well playing into the wind in that first half, just controlling the game how they did. And the Bulls just tried to overplay a bit much, I thought, into the wind. Villy LaRue throws a lovely seed over the top for the try for de Klerk, but they were just trying to offload out the back.
Yeah.
And in that wind, and you saw Elliot Daly's kick, bless him, go backwards, and then Jamie George laughing at him. But Sarries sort of controlled things well, didn't they? The Bulls' discipline in the second half was abysmal, I thought. Obviously a couple of yellow cards, and they scored 2 tries, Sarries, don't they, when the Bulls were down to 13 men. So Sarries did well.
Yeah, did well. Tom Willis, big shout out to him. Yeah, all of them, man. And that they're the things that Steve Borthwick's going to be looking at, right? Against the physicality, and Cameron Honeycomb was also good for the Bulls, but that matchup was probably the matchup going into the game. Both played very well, but Tom Willis got man of the match, 26 post-contact meters, which in them conditions are big numbers, 17 carries, 9 defenders beaten again in them conditions.
Same stats as he produces in the Premiership. I say same. Like, he's been a worldie in the Premier. Steve doesn't want to pick him though. Don't pick our best player, Steve. Not our best player. Bernal, good finish off the bench.
Well, he came on off the bench, like you said.
Good finish for the try, wasn't it?
Bit between his teeth as well. And that was him. That was like just that finish alone was what got him into the England squad. That power, looked a bit pissed off.
Yeah.
Bit between the teeth. He played nearly every minute, if not all of them, in the Autumn Nations. And then he was on the bench being rested or to motivate him or whatever. He was brilliant off the bench.
I'll tell you what was interesting. You talk about a bit between your teeth. Someone that's put a few bits between his teeth, like my good self. When Jamie George scores his try, Elliot Daly is in behind him on the driving maul, and his shirt is riding up and up and up and up and up. And I'm just thinking, oh no, I'd be dropping the ball and trying to pull my shirt down. But Jamie George, man of the people, lets his shirt ride up over his belly, gets the ball down. I think Elliot Daly's still trying to hold it up as well. Nightmare scenario for me, that would have been with my shirt up.
Yeah. Big shout out to Fergus Burke as well. Yeah. Been under a bit of pressure. Coming in for Owen Farrell specifically,
well,
he did play well. And a lovely lad spoke to him after. Not that matters, and he's getting a shout out on this, speaking about playing well, because he's a good lad. But he was a lovely lad. Spoke to him after the game. And
Leicester had a good first half against Bordeaux as well.
Yeah, they did. Do you know what? Obviously, resting a few because of what they have to do. Obviously, Coley didn't play. Andre Pollard didn't play. Freddie Steward played.
And he played well.
Jack Van Poortvliet played. Freddie Steward played very well, actually.
That's the best I've seen Jack Van Poortvliet. Well, I saw him snipe.
Yeah.
That's what he was known for before he got injured, right?
Yeah. And Leicester started the game really well, leading at half-time, 21-14, with intent. So, they knew playing against this Bordeaux team, you're going to have to score tries to win it. But also, bonus points in this environment and this context of the competition are going to be so important. So, they got their 4th try at the end, Parisi's try, right at the death, which means they come home with a bonus point, which is good. But you're playing against Bordeaux. They love unstructured rugby. And those 3 tries in the 10 minutes after half-time, BLBRA, how good's he?
Unbelievable.
How quick. Him and Jalibert combining together. Pinot was half decent as well at times. They're a proper team. They're right in the mix, Bordeaux, to win it.
I don't know whether physically they've got it.
How good was Leicester's scrum?
Leicester scrum.
Absolutely.
Also, defensively, they were passive at times.
Yeah, that's Trey French.
And I was literally about to say, and they've got that French in them, chips it down, and then when it opens up, they looked unstoppable.
Yeah.
They're second in the top 14.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fair play to Leicester to go down there, and that shows you the kind of character and the culture that they've got. But on paper, if you were to look at it like that, you would have taken 1 point. I know Checker said after he wanted 2.
Yeah.
From it, but Bordeaux, like that 20 minutes after half time, just switched on. Leicester switched off. But a proud performance from Leicester. Tex Deeks.
What did he say?
Well done. A thumbs up. He don't say anything, mate.
And he doesn't.
Just send me a thumbs up when I said well done.
And realistically, you talk about the scrum and the names that are synonymous with big Leicester scrums. Obviously, Montoya's been there and is there. Dan Cole, you'd expect those. But front row of James Cronin, Charlie Clare, who I thought was outstanding.
He's been good for a while.
And Joe Hayes.
Yeah.
Absolutely annihilated the Bordeaux scrum, which had the biggest fella in the world in Tamifuna. Jefferson Poirot as well. It was a good statement by Leicester, but Bordeaux, unstructured rugby, turnovers. And it was, who was it that dropped it? There was one massive turning point in the game. Hanro Liebenberg has been put through half a hole, I think by Parisi, and he drops it. Bordeaux pick it up, hack it, try. Straight from the kickoff, same sort of thing happened. Try. 3 quick tries, it was game over. But there's tiniest of moments in the top competitions make big differences. And BLBRA and Jali Banter and all that stuff, they were outstanding.
Yeah. Talking about standing, Rob, just read out some Freddie Steward's stats because, we're big fans of him and with the high ball, the new kind of laws around that.
Yeah, he made double the amount of carry meters than anyone else did in the Champions Cup this weekend. He made 292 carry meters, and I think the next was Joe Carpenter with 120. So he's carried the ball a fair bit.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Rob.
Just to let you know, some maths there is more than double if they are the correct stats. 120 times 2 is 240.
Rob, you're like me. You're not great with numbers, are you?
Leave the numbers to me, lads. Basically,
all works.
Freddie Steward carried, made breaks, and made load of meters.
I heard this on comms as well. Did you know that Jusson is the only Frenchman playing
What's
in the
his
Prem?
first name?
His first name is Com.
Jusson.
He was.
They were talking about he played in Pro
Nottingham.
D2 at Nottingham.
He went to Nottingham, yeah.
Hey, mate, they're baptism of fire for everyone.
There you go. But many a good second row has pulled on the Nottingham jersey, haven't they, James?
They have. And talking of Nottingham,
Yeah.
what's the black lad who played 7?
Emeka Ilioni. Yes.
Brilliant player.
Yeah.
So when I did
Big lad as well.
When I did the documentary all them years ago,
New news
with George Martin, Freddie Steward, Jack Van Poorfleet, Emeka Ilioli, because his name's so difficult for me to say. I missed it out. I didn't say, but he's a good big player. Deeks is a big fan of him as well. He was very good.
He's a big lad as well.
Yeah,
and a big lad as well.
I'm sure.
If you know what I mean.
Without stereotyping, I'm sure.
Also, he is. I think he's studying medicine as well.
True.
He spends a bit of time working in the hospitals.
Yeah, there you go.
Clever lad.
He's a lovely guy as well. I've interviewed him a couple of times in the Andy Goode suite. That's back open this weekend against the Sharks, my old club.
You're not doing TV this weekend?
Yeah, I'm doing Premier Sports as well. Yeah, I'm there. I am there, James.
Bristol Leinster.
Correct.
Your mate Sam Prendergast as well. Since you
said
he was too small.
Since you've rinsed him,
that's what happens.
On fire.
It's the influence. Either way, it's a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been great. And that was the question going into this, who was going to play 10?
Oh, well, he answered it. And he scored an amazing try. I hate saying this. I thought about whether I should say this or not. Because we're always going to compare him to Sexton because of how much of a ledge Johnny was.
But how much he looks like in a way. That's
actually the try
thing.
And the try that he scores is Sexton-esque. The ball out the back on the loop play.
But that'll be intentional, right?
Yeah.
He would have watched Johnny Sexton. He would have run them plays like him. So it's almost
a compliment, isn't it?
It's a compliment.
It is a compliment. Yeah. But it was interesting the way they got cut open. And, Bristol were pretty difficult conditions again. Bristol.
They lost AJ McGinty early as well.
Yeah, that was a big loss. And Van Rensburg did well stepping in at 10 with the longest, most gorgeous mullet you've ever seen.
He looks great. He looks so amazing. Cool.
And he's hard. He is proper hard. But the bench that came off for Leinster, it's the Leinster Guinness bomb squad. You've got Caelan Doris, you've got RG Snyman, you've got Andrew Porter coming on.
Jordie Barrett
comes on. It goes, do you know what it actually made me think of? And this isn't having a dig before anyone says it. Go back to your Saracens days when they took the piss with Mauro Itoje, Jim Hamilton, Will Skelton, George Cruz as your 4 second rows in a squad under a salary cap. Your back line had your fullbacks had Alex Goode, Liam Williams, Elliot Daly. That's the level of Leinster, and they can do it because there's no salary cap. But when you've got that quality coming off the bench in a game where Bristol were competitive, made all the difference. Then the 2 yellow cards, Porter comes on, and the scrums were an absolute shambles. And eventually the French was, no.
I know do this.
No. Next time, high five, yellow card. He gives Porter and Max Laheath yellow cards. And the really interesting thing, so Pat Lam takes off Ravuvu in the centres. Leo Cullen takes off the skipper, Jack Conan, to bring a prop on. So Bristol have gone, taken a back off. Leinster have taken a forward off. So 7 forwards for Leinster, and Bristol have got a back down. And then they get carved open by that try. And then, ultimately they go through where Ravuvu's come out of because you've moved 3 people around to defend. And then they score again straight from the kick-off pretty much where that lovely little offload, Snyman. Imagine he's got a 20-metre run up at you. And you're just the last man defended, so he gives it to Prendergast.
Yeah.
And they ripped it up then. It was, Leinster looked proper good, and as they always do. And then they get to a final. But we'll see again this year. But they signed the likes of R.G. Snyman and Jordie Barrett, how good was he? His try was class. And off the back of that, they're right in the mix as one of the favourites, James. Well, Alex Mitchell's back for Saints. That's what you need to know.
Good.
And England. He's coming back. He played very well, actually. Great to see him back. Like, he is a difference maker for the team. Shows how much England missed him.
Yes.
Good to see 3 try assists, but Cass sent the shags. You mentioned it earlier, Jim, about teams not sending their best teams. And I understand it. So some teams are going to pick and choose a bit, right? Because you have to. And you target games. And like the Sharks this week have got loads of injuries, so they're going to have to send a Shags team because they play the Bulls, I think, the week after in the URC. Cast, completely different kettle of fish. I'm going to say it now. They've always been a disgrace in the Champions Cup.
That is true, actually. It's a big statement, but I paused for a second and you're right. They've been hammered in games before. I haven't got the numbers to me, but now you say it, I'm agreeing with you with that second guessing.
And it might be just down to their squad depth and whatever, but they always just focus on the top 14. And it should be, I don't know, you can't just say you can't come in even though you finish in the top 8 in the top 14. But yeah, tough one because you're getting them and it was, the weather conditions were crap as ever. But Gas sent the kids and for whatever reason. But Saints were happy and they got the bonus point and they march on.
They were. Jorano Augustus, who's off to Ulster next year.
Yeah.
Was class. He's
great.
Big fan of him. Great signing. 34 post contact meters, 7 defenders beaten, 2 tries.
You love your stats, James.
Rob puts them in there in red, so I'll just make sure I read them and give them the time of day. Thank you, Rob. Sharks Exeter.
Yeah.
I watched that on my iPhone. I mentioned when I was moaning earlier, so I watched it on my phone. I
watched it as well.
Exeter looked good from the start. I was worried for Hollywood Bet Sharks.
Sunburn got to them though, didn't it?
You know what? It showed that there's a bit about them as well. And to go down there, no, it's not easy. Are Exeter winning the Champions Cup? Definitely not.
Yeah.
And they put in a performance where you could say that that's the foundations now to move forward because they've been poor in the Premiership.
We said this last year, though, and they did all right last year, didn't they?
In the
this is like this is like second season syndrome for them. So last year they were a bit of an unknown, and they did well in the Champions Cup last year. I think they beat Munster at home, didn't they? Got to the knockout stages. It's caught up with them a bit. They're on a massively losing run in the Prem. I think they've only won in the Prem Cup this year, haven't they? Yeah, they've only won the Prem Cup. So I've heard a couple of things, but it's a lot of young players. But there was a lot of bite and a lot of backs against the wall stuff. And they nearly came back. And actually, I don't want to call it out too much, but the ref bottled it. Should have given a third yellow card at the same time to the Sharks. They had 2 in the bin. They were down to 13. They didn't get a 4-try bonus point because they didn't have the accuracy. But the Sharks should have been down to 12 at one point. But the Sharks were good. Good team. John Plumtree, from the dark times of last season when they were struggling in the URC, obviously qualified for the Champions Cup by winning the Challenge Cup. And now the squad he's got there.
Well, you called it when you said about potential winners.
Yeah.
And it'd be a big step for them, wouldn't it, from the Challenge Cup to the Champions Cup, but the profile of their team.
Just on paper, on profile, they've got the ability to win it. But then you think it's a 52-week season for them. They're starting to get injuries.
There you go. And that's it. So they play Leicester this weekend.
They ain't sending their first team.
They ain't sending their first team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We'll know if Sear's coming because Sear's fit. Evan got concussed, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think Sear and his Red Bull arm sleeve he's staying.
That's the big thing for the Hollywood Bet Sharks. Not only have they brought Sear Khaleesi back, he's playing unbelievably well.
Yeah.
So the profile of their team, but it is the elephant in the room, the long old season with the travel. So you play that game, and then if you are carrying a slight niggle, the last thing you need to do is get on a plane. But that's what they're doing.
In December in Leicester.
Ruggers, hey? Because that's what we do.
But it's their choice, though. So they wanted to be part of the European club season. And it's a masterstroke from a South African perspective because they've got the best of both worlds, but also sometimes it's the worst of both worlds because of how much rugby those boys have got to play and the travel and the knock-on effect of it. But again, it came down to finances and numbers, and the reason it's called the Investec Champions Cup is because the South African team's in it. So you kind of have to thank the South African teams, but also say you've got to put up a bit and travel a bit. And there's no ideal scenario, is there, James?
Munster were playing Stade Francais, but Stade Francais were doing fucking wrestling moves and stuff, weren't they?
Oh, my
Horrible.
Tombstone.
What?
Did you see the
who does a
tombstone?
tombstone? I saw it on social media.
Who does a tombstone on Craig Casey?
That poor lad. Hey, he gets, maybe because he's the smallest. Remember, RG Snyman absolutely obliterated him last year as well. And then the poor lad's getting tombstoned.
Well, I'll tell you the tombstoner, because he's going to get mentioned later. It's Baptiste Pacenti.
Okay.
Tombstone.
He's baptised him then, isn't he? He's basically baptised him.
He's baptised
That's
him,
what we used to do at Gloucester. We used to baptise. If you were leaving, so you have the milk challenge now banter or shave your head. So when lads were leaving, we would baptise them like a tombstone. So you'd pick them up arms and legs and you'd be baptised in the minute and we'd say, baptised. And then you'd bury the head in the ice bucket, drink.
I was hoping it was toilet.
Baptised, drink. Baptised, drink.
I was hoping it was a toilet.
Yeah, that was too loose.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
You like the other one as well. The absolute cheap shot to Peter O'Mahony. Not saying you like that.
I did.
You'll like his name. It was a proper cheap shot, swinging arm.
Oh, no, I don't like that.
No. Henry Azagoo.
Azagoo. Here we go.
Here we go, and here we go. Azagoo. Go. Yeah, but he's swinging arm at Peter O'Mahony. Interesting one around Munster, as in who's the coach that's going to take over. But good win against the poor Stade Francais team.
Yeah, I'm in Paris this weekend.
Oh,
I'm going. Yeah, with my agent now. Big shout out to him. Sarries are there as well. Not that that's the reason why I'm going, but
speaking of Paris, where was Faz? I was excited.
He's injured.
Yeah, well, I thought we'd see
surgery.
Faz Smith.
Yeah, groiny.
Yeah, you would have seen Faz. You know what? The Racing thing's really interesting, isn't it? I wonder. I don't know if Faz is not enjoying it, but it hasn't been a great start for him. Has it there? And the injury that he's got, and we saw the issues with Sia Khaleesi and with Jackie, the owner. Big win against Quins, and we'll get onto that game. But just with Owen Farrell, I found myself in the bath, holding my left leg out of the bath just to profile it because I had a tattoo on my leg.
What about the middle leg? Middle leg was shriveled.
Oh, that was, yeah, of course it was.
Bush everywhere.
Completely dehydrated, yeah. And I got the leg out and I found myself thinking about Owen Farrell and Rassett just randomly. I don't know.
Oh, no. Yeah. You're in the bath with your leg tattoo, your new tattoo.
Hanging out the bath.
You're
just
bushing
to
all sorts of
it.
shape. And they sat there.
Thinking about Owen Farrell.
What's wrong with you? Is it trauma?
It must have been
Is
like
it
the
trauma?
subconscious. It could have been
How he spoke to
trauma.
you.
It could have been trauma.
You look like
as
a
well.
fucking...
You're fucking good. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Owen. I do. Who gets a tattoo at 42 on the leg? Well, me, clearly, because it's a midlife crisis. But when I think, how happy is he?
8th in the top 14.
Eighth in the top.
His bank manager's happy, boys.
Yeah, but he's loaded anyway.
But this is the thing, and we know it. You go to France, you get paid a lot more, but you work a hell of a lot harder.
And if you're injured, they take it personally.
Yeah.
It's like it's a personal issue.
Yeah.
As in, you've done something wrong. You get injured in France, it's like pourquoi, which means why. It does mean why, doesn't it? For
Pourquoi
what?
is why, yeah.
Is it why or for what?
It can be either, James.
Yeah.
Pourquoi? Why? Hey, oh.
Yeah,
Don't you love the
which
way?
means AOO, by the way. It's the same thing. Translates the same, Rob. Just we're
But that's all,
educating Rob on the run.
that's all they ever shout out, isn't it? You know, I hear it now on the games in the Champions Cup where against a French team, all you ever hear is the coach on the sideline going, hey,
Absolute Cowboys.
And it just
I
takes me
remember
back
when
to
they were
breathe.
shouting Veet, and I thought Veet was like, as in, because how they did it was like, Veet, and they'd be rubbing them, like, as in rubbing up. And I'm thinking, like, what, like, take the hair off, what are you shouting?
I've eat.
But Veet means quick, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
Veet means quick.
Veet.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, there's no hair left. What you say?
You talk about Racing though, some of the boys, like Tuasova playing at 12. My God, your man, Fiku at 13, Habosi on one wing. They play some good stuff. Conditions were shocking. How bad is it? They've got their amazing stadium indoors and they're playing in some tin pot stadium outside of Paris with a running track around it. People
but why is
running
that?
around it was obviously booked. La Défense Arena is obviously booked for...
A cool stadium, that.
Yeah.
Anyone who says otherwise, isn't it? But they're playing in the old
They're
school,
playing in
the bog.
Yeah, in a bog in outskirts of Paris somewhere, pissing down with rain, no one in the stands. No wonder Faz didn't want to play.
Yeah,
wise man.
No.
Yeah.
And then 6th in the top 14, plays top of the Prem. It was close, though, wasn't it?
You're talking Bath La Rochelle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, half time, I'm like, this could get messy. The drive and maul.
How bad was the game, though?
Made me think of you, James.
How bad was the game?
Oh, mate, the weather was, honestly, the weather.
Fair play to the Bath
Was
fans
shocking.
for sitting in that.
Yeah.
No roof.
Those people that sit on that far side.
Considering they're all posh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of red trousers I saw.
But, well, they were
Pinky rings,
pink.
red
They were meant to be
trousers.
pink, but they're now red.
Yeah.
Fair play. That's commitment.
I'll tell you how bad the weather was. I love Andy Brace, right? Good mate. And I'm watching
You'd
him
never
warm
know that watching the game that you like.
up. I know.
Andy
I
Rice.
said he's a good lad, didn't I?
About 35 times.
He did message me saying, thank you. Anyway, I always go and make a point of saying hello to him, doing a video and just shouting, and use it! And doing some shit when I know he's refereeing. It was too wet for me to get my trainers dirty and walk on the pitch.
No.
So I'm just in the stand ready to commentate and I can see him. So I've got a video of him doing his warm-ups, embarrassing. But yeah, it was like the weather was horrific. I didn't want my lid to blow off or, it to get even thinner with the wet. So, but Bath fought back second half. The power game of La Rochelle, they weren't quite on it. They weren't on it in the second half. Kerr Barlow's try was class. The pick up off his toes was brilliant. Driving more was good. But then, Bath found it within them. Will Muir, bit of a difference maker for him, isn't he? And then they get a couple of tries back, but not enough to go and win it. But they get the losing bonus point.
Miles Reid was good, weren't he?
Yeah.
First half.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else was good for Bath. It's just a kick game, wasn't it? Kick. I don't want the ball. You have it.
A lot of missed tackles, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of missed tackles, but difficult underground conditions. Aldrit played very well, actually. He's got the bit between his teeth after getting dropped by France as well. And Rog, the bollocking that he gave him last week, they lost to Van at home last
They're not
week.
as good this year, are they? La Rochelle.
Don't know. I reckon they'll be all right.
Don't know.
They don't look on the level of Toulouse, Leinster, Bordeaux to a certain extent. Who else was good over the weekend? Sharks played pretty well in the sun. See if they like it on a damp Saturday evening in Leicester with the kids.
I think they missed Ben Spencer though, didn't they?
They did, yeah. He pulled out with a tight hammy the day before, I think. But Scrooder played well actually. But that confidence and that leadership. But they did well to come back and get a losing bonus point after being hosed in the first half. So Van Graham obviously did a reasonable job at half time in terms of throwing some teacups.
Rumour mill as well. Sam Underhill, La Rochelle.
Oh,
Wait, it's the same place as you got the Jordie Barrett to Bristol's one.
Twitter, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Could see that.
yeah. I mean, they've got some options there. Pepper, obviously, in the back row. So Alfie Barbary,
How's he getting on? He's dropped off a bit.
concussion.
Is it?
So he had, I don't know the exact number, but he's had a few in a certain period of time where you have to have a stand down period. And I was chatting to him and I said, so what's your mum said? Because you know his mum, don't
Yeah,
you?
wow, loosely.
Yeah. I said,
I used to spin with her.
yeah, what's your mum said? And he said, my mum says I've been getting concussion since I cut all my hair off. So he's going to grow it all back, I think.
Yeah, another boy.
Pod.
Rugby pod.